Hi, this is Morten Veland from the symphonic gothic metal band Mortemia, and you are listening to The Bloodshed with the Vampire on Metal Messiah Radio International. And we'd like to congratulate Metal Messiah Radio for its 13th anniversary.
Tonight we're going to be talking with the Norwegian multi-instrumentalist, producer and artist, talking about Morten Veland, the founder of the bands like Tristania, Sirenia and Mortemia. Morten, it's a great pleasure to have you back here at the Metal Bloodshed on Metal Messiah Radio International with a Vampire.
Thank you very much. It's always my pleasure to be here with you guys.
Morten, we met back a couple months ago. I believe it was May, where we talk about the brand new Sirenia album, Riddles, Ruins and Revelation. Tell us, how are the fans responding to this new release so far, and especially this album that has been spiced with more of this electronic vibes?
Yeah, the feedback has actually been very, very good. I only remember, I think the fans got a little bit worried when we released the first single, which is kind of a very, very different song for Sirenia. So I think that some of the fans were probably a little bit nervous, that the entire album would be something totally different. But as soon as the whole album was released, I think that most of the fans got what they were hoping for. I think the album is a very diverse album, and I think there should be a little bit there for everybody. All the songs being quite different, and so there's basically songs that are really fresh, bringing something totally new and different to the table, and there are some of the songs which are like really typical Sirenia songs, and a lot of variation. So I think there should be definitely a little bit of something for everybody, and it seems as soon as the whole album was out, that it seemed like most of the fans were really, really happy with the album.
Okay, since we last met up to now, do you have any updates on shows and tours for end of 2021 or 2022?
Yeah, it's kind of the market is still a bit unsure, so things haven't really been moving forward very fast up until now. So I'm gonna have a chat with management and everything next week, and to see if there's any updates on, and but I really do expect us to be back touring again next year. Yeah, just can't wait to get back to touring again. By that time, it will have been like 2 years without any concerts at all. So it's been a very strange time, this whole COVID pandemic period. So I can't wait for it to be over. And I expect us to start announcing shows within the next very few months.
Okay, to move over to this other band, Mortemia is a Norwegian gothic metal one-man band created in 2009 by you, Mr. Veland. On 6th of July, the band announced its sign with Napalm Records, and the band's first album, titled Misere Mortem, was released in February 2010. What was the main purpose in create this band, besides being one-man band and don't have a female fronted the band? What are the difference musically and lyrically compared to Sirenia?
When I did the debut album, Misere Mortem, back in 2010, I was, really writing a lot of material at the time, and I felt that some of the material didn't really fit into Sirenia's concept at the time. So that's how I decided to make like a solo project where I could use some of these ideas. And, the concept for the debut album was different than what I'm doing now. And with the new stuff, back then it was more or less 50% of my own vocals and the choirs. With this new project now that I'm working on, it's still like more or less 50% of my own vocals. And then I have a special guest doing the other part of the vocals. Also for each song, there's like a different special guest. So it's a different concept. I think compared to Sirenia, Mortemia is probably a bit harder. There's definitely a lot more of the extreme vocals. And, it's kind of to me, at least in many ways, Mortemia is like travel into the past in many ways, musically speaking, while Sirenia, for example, is more of a travel into the future. So I think that's mainly what's separating the two. Obviously, there will be some similarities, of course, as I'm the same guy writing the song material for both of the bands.
Was it easy to sign with Napalm Records? I mean, at the time, seeing the experience you had already working with them on previous releases with Tristania and Sirenia, and how was the collaboration back then between the label and Mortemia?
It was really good. I remember they did a great job with the first debut album, and we did a lot of press and a lot of stuff where I was working really hard back then, kind of push the album and all. And as time went on, Sirenia was definitely taking up more or less all my time. So I didn't really have time to focus much on Mortemia. And so the whole Mortemia project has more or less been put on hold for like 10 years. As soon as the debut album was out, and we did a lot of promotion and a lot of work. And shortly after that, all of my focus was on Sirenia, and it pretty much has been so the last 10 years.
Mortem, especially for fans that actually don't know the band, as yet, this album, an album I'm talking about with 9 tracks recorded at Veland's Avenue Studio in Norway and Sound Suite Studio in France, and produced engineered by yourself, Morten. How was the recording gone back then, and why have you used 2 different studios to do so?
I did most of the recording in my own studio. I only recorded the choir, I believe, if I remember correctly. I think I only recorded the choirs in France in Soundsweet Studios, which makes more sense because, the choir is located in South France. So it made everything a lot easier to record them there. And Ty Lefnes, who is a good friend of mine, he's having his studio there, Soundsweet Studios, which I've been working a lot with for pretty much all the bands I've been involved with, even back in the old days with Tristania. We worked with Talia, and I've been working with him a lot for Sirenia as well, and also recorded the choir there for the first Mortemia album.
Talking about this album, you had some guest musicians on this album as well, like Damien Masurian, Matthew Landry, Emmanuel Soldan, Sandrine Gottabel, and Mika Jessica. How was it working with them?
Yeah, these are the guys from the choir that you are referring to. So, I've been working with these guys for a long time. I think, the first time was when I was recording the debut album from Sirenia, 6s and 7s, which I believe I recorded in 2001 already. So that's 20 years ago. And I've been working with these guys ever since. So it's a very long cooperation.
What do you most remember of this release?
I remember, of course, the recording sessions. And I also flew down to Germany to do a press. We had a thing session there in the studio, I remember. And there was a lot of press there. The big press in Europe was there. We had a listening session and we did lots of interviews afterwards and so on. It was really busy times. And so this is mainly what I can recall from the time. And also coming back from the listening session, I continued doing a lot of interviews from home. And that's it. Never done any concerts or any shows with Mortemia so far.
To conclude this cycle of this album, Misere Mortem, do you believe it was well received?
As far as I can remember, it was, it's 11 years ago, so I don't remember everything in detail. But as far as I can remember, it was received very well. And it was also, we got a lot of good reviews, etc. from the press and so on. Very shortly afterwards, I didn't have time for it, and Sirenia has been so busy. And still, now I got a lot of time because of the COVID-19 situation. And that's probably the only reason why I had time to, get back to working with Mortemia again. If it wasn't for the pandemic, I would probably be still so busy with Sirenia, that I don't know if I would have the time to do something with Mortemia. So for me personally, it's like the only good thing that came out of COVID-19, was that I got a lot of extra time, which enabled me to do some more music with Mortemia again, which is something that I wanted to do for a long time, but I didn't really have the time for it up until now.
On a normal situation, you would be touring now.
Yes, for sure, With a new Sirenia album and out, we would probably be very busy touring at the moment, and now it's the summer festival season and all, and
very
so
busy.
So it's kind of frustrating, that we're not able to promote the new Sirenia album in that way. But of course, as soon as we're able to do concerts again, and we can't wait to start playing the new new songs as well.
But the only thing that, you're not playing, that costs you money. You have an album out. You don't get the full support because you're not doing tours. You're not selling merchandises the way you should. I mean, all those, it's money. Most of big bands only do that. Musicians, they don't have a full-time job. And that's the only sad thing. That's the only things that really hits hard. I mean, that you guys are not making the money. To check the positive side is that, as you just said, at least we get to hear from Mortemia back. I mean, yes, after 11 years of silence, Norwegian multi-instrumentalist, producer, and artist, you, Morten Veland, finally found the time to reactivate your solo project Mortemia once more. This time with a brand new concept, the Pandemic Pandemonium Session, as a series of singles, each song featuring a well-known, highly prolific singer in metal. After a long process in between a pandemic to get Sirenia's new album out, Riddles, Ruins, and Revelation, what has triggered you to reactivate this solo project, Mortemia?
No, it was definitely when the pandemic broke out and, we had to cancel all the touring plans that we had with Sirenia. So I was wondering, what should I do now, with all this time that I all of a sudden have. And so pretty much the first thing that came to my mind was to start working on Mortemia album. By the time the pandemic broke out, the new Sirenia album was already written. So it was just to record it that remained, and then, that was done. So yeah, it made perfect sense for me to just start working directly on a new Mortemia album after that. So yeah, and the only good thing that came out of this whole pandemic, I think, from my part.
Yes, talking about this, last May 14, you premiered the band's first single in 11 years, the enigmatic sequel featuring the beautiful and talented Madeleine Liljestam, a singer of the Swedish band Elaine. Please tell us all the details behind the single and the work done with Madeleine Liljestam.
Yeah, I think the song to me is kind of it has a really 90s vibe to it. I think kind of inspired 90s metal, so to say. Also I believe some black metal influences on that song. And Madeleine, she has this really beautiful voice that I thought would fit really well for this song and to make it a good contrast with my voice. And so that was the first single for this new project. Yeah, I think the song, it turned out great.
For being the first single, the day that you guys have released it, have you seen a lot of reaction?
Yeah, I mean, Mortemia has been pretty much dead for 11 years, so, and I'm also doing this new album without a label. So I'm trying something that is completely new to me. And I got this idea with seeing how much the business have changed over the years and how much you can do by yourself via the internet these days. So for me, this is kind of a test project, to try this out and see. And so far, in the beginning, it takes time to get the new music out to people. And but so far, it has been growing really fast, and we're reaching out to new fans every day. So far, it seems to be going really well. So it's a very nice and very interesting project in many ways.
Recently, on June 18, the band's second single, That Turns a Blind Eye, was released. And for this one, you have teamed up with another beautiful and talented singer, the Mexican Marcela Bovio, a well-known name in the metal scene, as she has already enriched bands like Stream of Passion, Irion, Mayan, and Dark Horse, White Horse, with her stellar vocals performances. How was the collaboration with Marcela Bovio gone?
It was great. I have known Marcela for many years now, 12 years or so. I think the first time we met was back in 2009 when we were on tour together. I was touring with Sirenia and she back then was touring with Stream of Passion. And so I've known her ever since. She's a fantastic singer. And she was one of the first singers came to my mind, started working on this project. And so she was one of the first singers that I contacted. And I was really happy when she wanted to join this project. And I think she did an absolutely fantastic job. And yeah, I really love the way that the song turned out. I think that her voice, really just fits perfect with that song.
How about the content of the song, Mortem?
The song I think it's a really melodic song. And also, I feel it's quite inspired by 90s metal. For me, at least, the song is kind of like a journey into the past, pretty much the same as the Enigmatic sequel. And it will be like this for, I believe, most of the Mortemia album and the material. Yeah, it's really, really fun to make it in this way. With Mortemia, I get to write like kind of more old school metal stuff in a way. And with Sirenia, I tend to experiment more and always try to look for the future and try to bring something new and fresh to the table.
Mortem, since you have given joy to our hearts and soul with these 2 tracks, are we able to expect more new singles to come out or a complete album?
Yes, my plan for now is to release 1 single every month. So the 3rd single will be out on the 23rd of July. So I will announce the title of the track, and also I will announce the name of my special guest for this song.
This is a premiere here.
Yes, I will announce it on this coming Friday. The week after, the song will be out 1 week later.
Come on, let's do it now.
So I have to wait until Friday before I can reveal the name.
Okay, yeah. At least we are happy. We got a good news that there will be a 3rd single.
Oh, yes, there will be a 3rd one. I think I will release something like 10 or 12 songs. This is my goal for this project.
So after all these singles has been out, it could be either this year or sometimes next year. Are you going to be able to have them all on a CD?
Yeah, this is the idea that I'm thinking about, when all the singles are released and all that, and to also possibly make a CD, maybe even a vinyl as well.
Wow, that's going to be great.
Yeah, it's going to be a very, very cool project, I think. Lots of cool songs and fantastic guests and all.
I must say, I like the cover artwork for these singles, and I want to ask you, who created it? And will this be made available on T-shirt?
Yes, I do believe so, yeah. So that's probably also something that I will release maybe like halfway into the project or something, that I will make a T-shirt from this as well. Yeah.
Okay. Mortem, the microphone of Madam Messiah Radio International is all yours to thank whomever you want to thank. But to conclude this great interview, Martin, for Mortemia fans to know, is there any possibility to add live members and to do some live shows with the band at some point of time?
Yeah, I mean, the possibility is always there, So we'll have to see how my schedule will be with Sirenia, first and foremost. And there are some possibilities to fit things into the schedule and so on. And, if the Mortemia project keeps on growing in the way that it's doing now, and more fans are, getting into the project and all, then it definitely might be a possibility into the future. It would definitely be fun to try to put something together. But yeah, it's a little bit hard to tell. Sirenia is, of course, it's my main band, so I need to plan things around Sirenia's schedule, and then we'll just have to see what will be possible in the next years. I expect this Mortemia album, to be finished next summer, spring maybe or so. So yeah, we'll just have to see after that how things will evolve.
Okay, Mortem, to conclude this interview, the microphone of Madam Messiah is all yours to thank whomever you want to thank. And if you still have things to say, please say it now.
Yeah, I would basically just like to thank all the fans for listening and for checking out Mortemia. And yeah, stay tuned, because there's a lot of more songs coming with fantastic singers. And thanks to you, Jacobo, for the interview. It's a pleasure talking to you as always. Thanks a lot. And thanks a lot to Metal Messiah Radio.
Okay, Mortem, once again, I want to thank you very, very much for this interview. It's been a great pleasure talking to you again. And I want to say, metal on. Bye-bye.
Yeah, metal on, man. Thanks again. Take care.